My name is Joe and I'm a flight instructor. If this is your first time here, welcome. If it's not, welcome back. Today we're going to talk about the top 5 lies that flight schools tell flight students. So let's get into it. All right, so as I said, we're going to talk about the top 5 lies that flight schools tell current and potential students to get you through the door and into their school, training with them, and basically giving them money. And these are lies that I have personally seen, and some I've even fell for. So let's get into it. The very first lie that flight schools tell potential and current flight students is the availability of planes. Every flight school I've come across, no matter where they are in the country, will tell you that, oh, the planes are always available, you can fly when you want, there's always someone there, there's always something available that you can go and do. To expand on that, some flight schools will say, oh yeah, you can rent the planes after you have your ratings too and just go on fun flights with them and stuff. Well, we're going to put a big old lie stamp on that. So let's tackle those two first. So let's tackle the rental one first. Some schools will let you rent their planes after you get at least your private license certificate and let you take them out on the weekends and stuff like that. Most schools won't. Even though they tell you they will, most won't. Why? Because they're tied up with their other students. So let's talk about that too, the availability of the planes. They're going to tell you that, oh, there's always an airplane available, we have plenty of airplanes, and you're going to get the schedule you want for training and stuff like that. And again, it's a big fat lie. It's not going to happen. Most schools, you're going to be told when you're training. If a school does let you choose, chances are you're going to have to almost schedule a month out from now. And then kind of start putting stuff on the books. A lot of schools, though, will only let you schedule out like a week or two in advance. And they're going to handle the scheduling for you. And they're going to tell you when you got to be there and when you don't got to be there. But again, there are schools out there that will let you schedule yourselves on their schedule for the airplane you want, and the instructor you want, and stuff like that, if you don't have a set instructor. And you can do that, but if you want to fly tomorrow at 9 a.m. and you're deciding that today, odds are that time slot is gone because you are not the only student that that flight school has. The next one we're going to talk about is the hidden fees. So basically, when you talk to a flight school and you ask for a quote, some schools won't give you quotes, other schools will. And the reason behind that is because we don't know how long it's going to take you to kind of get it and get to that check ride. It's different for every person. So with that said, people are going to pay different rates. The airplane rate should remain the same. The instructor rate should remain the same. Those numbers we can give you. But if someone comes and quotes you and says, well, you're going to do like one of my past videos here on this channel, or you can do your private pilot certificate in $10,000 or less. Sure, we can say that, but is it realistic? Not really. Because very few people actually hit everything in minimum hours. Most people do almost double minimum hours on the average. So minimum hours for a Part 61 school is 40 hours. The average is 65 to 80 hours. But a lot of schools will quote you on prices based on the minimum hours, knowing full well that very few students actually do it in minimum hours. So they're going to give you one price, but it's going to end up costing you a whole other price. Something else they don't tell you about up front when they're including those prices with the hidden fees and stuff is they're not going to tell you what it's going to cost you for a check ride. Now, guess what? That's extra. You got to pay the DPE. Some schools don't include ground school. So if you're going to do an online ground school, guess what? That's more money. I ran into one school that won't allow you to do an online ground school. They want you to do 2 hours of classroom with their instructor for every 1 hour of flying. Guess what? They're ripping you off. Do the online ground school, supplement with the flight instructor as far as your ground goes. Otherwise, you're wasting money. But then other things too is like you're gonna want some books for your materials, maybe a sectional chart, plotter, E6B flight computer. You're going to need a headset, get yourself a flight bag. I mean, all of this stuff is added in. We can call it hidden fees that they don't really tell you about up front. Then if you want to go to an electronic flight bag like ForeFlight or Garmin Pilot, those have fees attached to them. That costs money. So typically the fee that you are going to get quoted when you talk to a flight school is basically the airplane and the instructor's fees. They're not really including anything else. You're just going to kind of be blindsided with it if you don't go in knowing about that stuff. And that's what this video today is all about, to help you open your eyes so you're not blindsided by anything. Our next lie that flight schools tell flight students and potential flight students is these fast track programs. You know, come through the door, we'll make you a commercial pilot in 6 months. We'll make you a commercial pilot in 7 or 9 or a year or whatever it is. It's not a major lie, but there's lies within there. And again, it's going to be very dependent on you. Can it be done? Yes. Most people don't. And then you have to deal with what happens when you don't. Because, I mean, life happens to people. So you might have to take a week off here or a week off there from your training. And that's okay, and it should be okay. But there are schools out there where if you fall behind, you're going to get put on like a remedial list. And you're going to have to kind of make up that work. So you're going to have to work twice as hard to get back on track. And if you don't, they're going to kick you out of the program. And guess what? If you paid in a lump sum up front, you might not get any of that money back. I've seen it happen. There's a nationwide school that does that. But again, like there's lots of schools out there offering these accelerated programs, but they don't really tell you what it takes to be successful within these accelerated programs. And I'm here to tell you, it takes being a full-time student. Kind of take that with a grain of salt. Know that your timeline is going to be in and around there, but it's going to be dependent on you pretty much living at the flight school. Studying for your grounds, doing your flights, sometimes 2 flights a day, stuff like that. All right, these last 2 lies that we're going to talk about are big ones. The first one is quality of instructors. A lot of schools are going to tell you, oh, we have the best instructors in the area. They're going to tell you they have the best planes in the area. And we're going to talk about planes within this too. It's kind of a little bit of a sidebar, but we'll talk about it. But they're going to tell you, oh, we got the best instructors in the market, you know, this and that. And here's the truth. They don't. They might have one instructor that's really great, and that's who they're going to send you out initially with, like for your discovery flights and stuff like that. But that's probably not who you're going to get the entire time. 99% of the instructors out there do not care about you. They don't care about you. They don't care about your success. They are worried about getting their 1,500 hours and leaving for the airlines. So it is kind of like finding a needle in a haystack to find that instructor that will care about you and isn't really worried about their 1,500 hours. But again, you need to go into this with eyes wide open, knowing they don't care about you. They're not the best instructors in the market, because if they were, they would have a lot more knowledge. They wouldn't be looking forward to their 1,500 hours and leaving. If you want the best instructors in a market, you find a career instructor that's been doing this for a while. Those are going to be the best instructors because they've made a career out of being an instructor. Everyone else is just kind of passing through, using it as a stepping stone. So be aware of that. And within that too is like I said, the planes. And they're going to tell you we have, I don't know, 10 planes, 15 planes, whatever. I promise you, when you go out there for your discovery flight, they are going to put you in the nicest plane that they own. They are trying to sell you on being a student at their school. They might have one brand new plane that they use to show off to all potential students. But then when you get there for your flight training, you're not actually training in that airplane. You're flying in the 1956 hunk of junk sitting over in the corner that has a bunch of in-op stickers all over it inside the airplane. And that's basically what you're going to be doing your training in. So make sure you look at the whole fleet, because again, these are things they're going to lie to you about up front. So again, I want you to be eyes wide open. The very last lie we're going to talk about here, and I'm guilty of falling for this one. Not once, but twice. Guaranteed job placement. Flight schools will tell you, oh, hey, if you come and you do our whole program here, we're going to hire you at the end. You're going to get to be a flight instructor here once you get those ratings. If you go 0 to hero, as they call it, and become a CFI, CFII, whatever their benchmark is for that school, you have a job. Here's your guaranteed job. I'm here to tell you, folks, it's not true. While some people may get hired and some people experience that, most people won't. You're going to be kicked out into the job market, and you're going to have to go and you're going to have to find a job. Now, here's the fun part of that, is the schools that will be hiring out there, they're going to hire their own students first, obviously. But again, there's only so many spots. If you got 10 students graduating today, there's only 2 spots open in that school. They're going to take 2 of their students before they take someone off the street that they don't know. So those other 8 are hitting the job market and going and looking. Well, now we're going to go to the flight school down the road. Well, the flight school down the road is hiring 3 people. Well, guess what? They just had 12 graduate their program today. So are they going to take you off the street from another school, or are they going to take the couple from their school and fill those spots? Well, they're going to fill their spots. And then the rest of those are going to join the unemployed job market, looking for a job as a flight instructor. So while yes, it does happen, I'm going to stamp this one with the lie, because a majority of the time it doesn't. I want you to go out there and watch, especially if you're already going through flight training right now. Watch what's going on in your school. Watch the students that are going through the programs. See how many of them, when they do get their flight instructors, actually return and get jobs there. You're going to see it's very few. It really is. So don't be led to a school just because they're promising you a job after you graduate and become a flight instructor. Again, I fell for that one twice. I didn't know anything about this industry, and that's kind of what my channel has turned into, is kind of pulling back the curtain and helping future students with the process and their decisions and everything else with their training. So I want you to go into this knowing, or at least going into this with the mindset of, I have to find a job when I'm done. I can't count on the school that I'm going to train at. So you have to kind of look at those as 2 separate items. Find the best place for you with the best instructors to train. And that's what you do there, is train. That might not be the best place for you to work. So don't go into it expecting that to be the place that you are going to work once you become a flight instructor. Your wants and your needs as a flight instructor could be completely different than what they are as a student instructor. You're going to have different wants, different needs, different things. So those could be 2 very separate things, and keep those separate. Again, just don't go in there with that expectation of, oh, well, they promised me a job if I complete the program here. Sure, it could happen, and it does happen for some people. But sadly, for a majority, it doesn't. Because, let's be honest, it can't. If a flight school hired everybody that they passed through, they're going to go out of business. Or the flight instructors that are there are going to have maybe 1 student a week, because it's just going to be flooded with flight instructors trying to build their hours up. So that's all I have for this week on this video. If you enjoyed this video, if it helped you in any way, please check out this other one here on the channel, and I'll see you next time.